हर हर महादेव, जय भगवान लॉर्ड कार्तिकेय, जय सिद्ध बाबा बालकनाथ। सर्वे भवन्ति सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। Distinguished Gurujis, honorable and distinguished guests on the stage and off the stage, my dear fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen. I, Bharath, on behalf of the veterans and the serving officers and soldiers of Indian Army, express our deep gratitude to the organizers of LMRK in general, Mr. Srinivasan Ji, Mr. Anup, and of course Hema Singh in particular, for inviting us over and remembering us and giving us this honor to seek the divine blessings of Lord Kartikeya. Indeed, it's an honor for all of us, all the members of the Indian Army. Well, I consider myself privileged and honored to give something of me to the Indian Army for almost 34 years. I owe my life to this nation and Almighty in general, and to my parents, my father in particular, Major Rejith Singh Ji Rana. He was the Chief Intelligence Officer to Subhash Chandra Bose. In the Indian National Army, the Azad Hind Fauj, he was the main driving force in almost all the operations being carried out by the Indian National Army and the Azad Hind Fauj. He, along with General Shahnawaz Khan, General Dhillon, were put behind the bars in the jails and in the dungeon cells of Red Fort just because they were hardcore mutineers by the Britishers. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a strong objection to some people who say that "De di hame azadi, bina khadag bina dhal, Sabarmati ke sant tune kiya bada kamal." Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I take strong objection to all this. My father and all the brave soldiers, the brave hearts, Shaheed Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, Chandrasekhar Azad, and so many of them, and 26,000 brave hearts of Indian National Army have given their heart and soul for the freedom of this country. और देवियों और सज्जनों, ये लोग कहते हैं कि दे दी हमें आज़ादी बिना खड़ग बिना ढाल. No, I don't subscribe to this ideology at all. I share with you few things. When my father, Major Rejith Singh, was behind the bars for 6 long years, my mother, living in a small village in Himachal Pradesh, was in trance. She used to eat just one meal, thinking that one day my husband will return back. She was almost reduced to bones. And ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, when my father was released from the dungeon cells of Red Fort, he was reduced just to bones. And when he reached my village, imagine, there was patriotism of my father on one side, and the spirituality, the meditation and the prayers of my mother on the other side, combined together. My father returned. Imagine when he returns to my village, seeing my mother who waited for 6 long years. He tells her, "My dear, I have not come for you. I have come for this nation till we achieve freedom." That is what I think you all are here for, a true patriotism and spiritualism together. I remember my Pitaji telling me various stories of Azad Hind Fauj. His only one dream was that all my 3 sons should serve the nation being in armed forces. And certainly we did. All of 3 of us joined the Indian Army and Air Force. And we're perfect blend of creativity and poise. We're confluence of deep and abiding compassion and humility in exercise of vast responsibility. We juggled our duties with efficacy and elan. We are symphony of passion and performance. We are amalgam of dedication and devotion to our nation. My father used to tell me many stories about the patriotism of the Japanese people. If the organizers have time for me, if I may tell a small story, that in a small village town of Japan, Huohoto, there lived a mother and a young son who was aspiring to join the armed forces. The mother also wanted him to join the armed forces, sends him to the recruiting agency to go and join the Japanese army because his father was martyred by the enemies. He goes there, clears all his physical tests, but during interview, he is asked about his family, who all are there in his family. He tells, "I have an ailing old mother to look after." They send him back, "Sorry, young man, you cannot be taken into the Japanese army, because you have a mother to look after." He was dejected, depressed, disgruntled, comes back crying to his mother that, "Mother, it is because of you that I am not able to join the Japanese army." Mother felt very bad and sad. He says, "Not to worry, my son, wait for a few days." She finds a solution and calls him again that, "I have spoken to the recruiting agencies. They've asked me to give you this envelope closed. Give it to them and they will recruit you into the Japanese army. But don't open this envelope till you reach them." Ladies and gentlemen, this young man goes back to the recruiting agencies, hands them over this letter, and you will be surprised. The letter that the mother wrote was that, "Along with my husband, I have also sacrificed my life for this nation. Now my son has nobody to care, to worry about his mother. Please take him into the Japanese army." That is the devotion par excellence sublime. And ultimately, this young man was taken into the Japanese army. These were the stories that I used to hear from my Pitaji and grew up. Ladies and gentlemen, Indian Army is not only about force of ammunition, arms, weapons, but it's an institution which merges nationalism, patriotism, and spiritualism together and makes a glorious motto which stands for Seva before self. From freezing temperatures of minus 50 degrees in Siachen to scorching heat of plus 50 degrees in the deserts of Rajasthan, the Indian soldier has only one thing in mind, that is the Izzat, Naam, Namak and Nishan of the Indian Army and the Indian nation, that is Bharath. And that is what, ladies and gentlemen, is spiritualism and patriotism for the Indian soldier. We have had only dharmsthals in the Indian army units. We do not have temples, mosques, gurdwaras or churches in the army units. We just have one dharmsthal. The soldiers go there and pray for the unity and prosperity of our nation. The resilience force which is training for the Indian soldiers is ultimate. They are taught to be calm, composed, even if there is fear of death lying in front of them and in extreme separation. If I may give you a very small example, ladies and gentlemen, that when I was posted in the Indian Military Academy, Dehradun, we were ordered as 3 officers and 7 gentlemen cadets, the budding young officers, to go and scale the peak of Mount Kedar Dome. Orders obeyed. We rushed towards the Mount Kedar Dome. Unfortunately, during those days, there were no GPS. Only with some sort of maps, we reached there. The weather was very bad, total whiteout conditions, heavy snow, winds. We lost our track. To add to this, there was a severe avalanche and we all were pushed under it, and all of us lying almost few meters away from each other, all 8 of us, 3 officers and 7 gentlemen cadets of the Indian Army. All our ration, supplies, logistics, food, etc. was gone. 2 days and 2 nights without food, under hypoxics, low oxygen conditions. Ultimately, on the 4th day, we realized that the end is near. We gallo-millowed all the officers and these gentlemen cadets that yes, the end is close. All of us closed our eyes, thinking that now it is going to be snow burial. We are ultimately going to sink into the snow. People remembering their parents, children, wives, and the young officers who had not even started their lives were just meditating. But then it was the prayers and good wishes of the citizens of India that suddenly there was a ray of hope from probably Lord Kartikeya, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, I don't know. And there was sunlight, bright sunlight all around. we could barely get up from these snow beds, and we could find our path, and we are alive today. Indian Army is the second largest next to China and the fourth strongest army of the world. But when it comes to physical strength, mental robustness, and spiritual well-being, the Indian soldier stands tall among the very best. Here again, I'd like to share a very small example, ladies and gentlemen. I was detailed for the Gulf War, 1990-91, as part of the Royal Oman Army, Muscat. I had to take a flight along with my contingent to fight the might of Saddam Hussein's army. When we were about to board the plane at Muscat, we were told that a US Army helicopter has just arrived and there are 4 casualties in that. We were surprised as to how come casualties, the war has not yet started. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll be surprised that 7 tall Marines and commandos of the US Army had inflicted self-wounds on them because they did not want to fight the Saddam Hussein artillery. I definitely felt this is what, had there been Indian soldiers here, they would have prepared to take the bullets on their chest, but will never run away from the battlefield. And that is where I realized that the war cry of the Indian soldiers, that सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है, देखना है जोर कितना बाजुए कातिल में है. That is what Indian soldiers are made of, that metal. Again, blessings of Lord Kartikeya always with us. Normally, the population have timings of 9 to 5, but unfortunately, my soldiers are 24/7 deployed. Be it external aggression, internal threats, floods, fury, earthquakes, fire, terrorism, insurgency. And whenever any of these organizations or the agencies of the nation falter or fall, they only look forward that yes, we have the Indian Army which will take care of us, and we are ready to face any peril even at the cost of our lives. Ladies and gentlemen, today is 26th January, and of course this function, courtesy our Guruji, is 26. I am reminded of my days in Kargil when we had Captain Vikram Batra just about few kilometers away from us. And we heard later on that he used to say, either I will come back after hoisting the flag on the peaks, or I'll come wrapped in the national tricolor, but sure I will come back. Ye dil mange more. We had many Vikram Batras in Kargil during that time. My unit was just about 7 kilometers away from there. Ladies and gentlemen, we have various war cries when we go on the battlefield. The strong, brave Gurkha soldiers call Ayore Gorkhali, that it is better to die on a battlefield than to die like a coward in the house. The 6 soldiers of the Indian Army, they ran, Jai ho Shiavar mohe hai, nit karmante kabhi na daro, jab jahe aage badho, निश्चय ही अपनी जीत करो. And there they go. They don't go that either we will do or die, but the motto now of the Indian Army is never die before you do. That is what we are. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reminded of that people like you are organizing such beautiful events to awaken national spirit, patriotism. I want such organizations, such events should be held in each and every village, district or state, so that the new generation, the present generation, should understand what is patriotism and what is nationalism. In India, unfortunately, the Indians are in minority. We can face any adversary come what may, but it is these Jaichans staying in India who are the worst enemies of us. If we sort them out, we are on the path to become a superpower, as rightly said by Sir Guruji. I remember the words of Lata Mangeshkar, because it's a time to pay tribute as well, that "Aye mere watan ke logo, jara aankh mein bhar lo pani, yaad karo उन लोगों को जिन्होंने इस देश के लिए दी है कुर्बानी." Finally, a tribute to the departed martyrs who are no more with us, that I do get emotional when I have seen the bodies of my friends, my fellow soldiers lying along with me. They have become martyrs. Their medals have faded away. But there are people like us still living to tell their stories. उन शहीदों की चिता पर हर बरस लगेंगे मेले, वतन पे कुर्बान होने वालों का यही निशान होगा. जय हिंद, ladies and gentlemen. जय भारत, वंदे मातरम. जय हिंद.